Joining us right now is one of the 10 inductees in the inaugural Hall of Fame, Seth Petruzelli. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, congratulations on your induction. Well-deserved, a very storied and decorated career.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Honestly, it was unexpected, to be honest. I saw the other names on the list, and I was like, oh, that would be great to have that happen to me, but it wasn't expected at all. So it's an honor to have that. Appreciate it.
Well deserved. I mean, you've been at almost every single major promotion in mixed martial arts. You were season 2 of The
Season
Ultimate
2.
Fighter. Yeah, I mean, you've had your name and you've stamped yourself on basically every cage that matters in America and beyond. So it's well deserved. And yeah, I'm happy to have you on here. First time I've gotten to speak to you. I'm sure Ralph's had a couple conversations in the past with you. Yeah, I remember I was there live. First time I ever met you was, I think, one of Ross's tournaments. And I think you were grappling Charles McCarthy.
Oh, no, the heel hook that injured my ankle for the rest of my life. Damn it.
Yeah.
He chainsawed my ankle pretty bad. I mean, I got him with a pretty cool jump scissor takedown sweep, which was kind of cool. But
yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
But right after that, it was a fast heel hook.
I don't even remember what year that was. I just remember that's the first time I met you.
All my years are blended together now too. So
that's what I tell people too. It's not that we're getting hit in the head so much. I just think we're so busy, and you're just like me because you do so many different things. You have a gym, you have multiple gyms, and you do movies, you do radio stuff, you do all kinds of stuff. That it all kind of blends in together because we're so busy all the time, and the years keep on going. We don't realize it.
Yeah, but I'm going to use that excuse from now on. Instead of getting hit in the head, that's just how I do so much. It just bleeds together. I don't remember.
Getting hit in the head's a great backup, though. Yeah, in case they have a rebuttal. No, well, I get.
That's my go-to. That's my backup. And when I'm like, you don't remember my name? I'm like, man, I got hit in the head so much. It's not really a laughing thing either. So it's. Yeah.
So we were just talking to Conan. We had Conan on, and we were talking about his fight in UFC that was in Japan. And I remember watching a fight. It was tournament based, and he beat Sakuraba, and then they brought Sakuraba back to beat him. And he goes, "Man, this is bull. I beat the guy already, and this and that." They go, "Nope, you better fight him." He said he had no choice because he looked on the hallway. He had all these guys in black suits, and they were in Japan. You know what that means?
Yeah.
So tell us.
It means you're fighting tonight. That's what it means.
No, yeah, right. It means you're fighting one way or the other. That's for sure.
Yeah. So. You had your fight with Bob Sapp. You took it on short notice. A lot of people don't know that. And you kickboxed with Bob Sapp, which is monster.
Jesus.
What is he, 6'6", 6'7"?
6'7", 370 was his build weight and height at the time.
And you had, what, a week?
Yeah, it was a week. Literally, they called me up. I remember being in bed. I think it was like 11 o'clock at night. Chris Cordero, who was actually was my manager for a long time at the early part of my career. He got me a lot of my first few fights. He's like, "Look, I got a huge opportunity. It's in a week from now, and it's against someone really big if you want to take it." And I'm like, "Well, who and where? Like, just tell me." So they said it, and without hesitation, I'm always one to jump on an opportunity that presents itself, like that. So I was like, "Hell yeah, of course." It was my dream since I was, a child doing karate to compete in Japan. So once I heard that it was in Japan, I don't care who I had to fight. I'll fight anybody if it was in Japan. So I was like, "Yep, I'm down."
Did that weekend help elevate your career at all? Like, if you look back, was that like a weekend that helped kind of step you up in your stature and your name and people knowing who you are?
Oh yeah, 100%. That was one of the reasons that I got into season 2 of The Ultimate Fighter, because they knew that I fought. Dana White knew that I fought Bob Sapp. He wanted to know what happened to my arm at the time. So that was actually one of the conversations when I did the interview for The Ultimate Fighter. He came in the doorway, like he was like hidden back there, like we weren't supposed to know he was back there, and that was the first thing he asked me was about my Bob Sapp fight. So I'm assuming that kind of helped.
Yeah, the story was that he hit you so hard on the arm that your arm went numb or something.
Right? No. The real story is, as I threw a right hand past his head, he came over top and tried to hit me, and I turned my head. So literally, I was extended with my right and turning my head at the same time. I don't know if you guys can see this in the camera. I was turning at the same time. So I just overextended my arm, which created a pinched nerve. And I've never, in all my career, which is very weird, I've never had a pinched nerve. I pulled back the punch again, and I went to throw, and it felt like I had a phantom arm. It felt like my arm wasn't even there. Like it was gone. It was the most insane feeling I've ever had in my life. And I tried to do it a couple times. I couldn't move my arm. So I freaked out. It didn't hurt. It was just numb. So I fell screaming, thinking I tore my bicep or something that was like, going to like ruin my career. So I was like upset for that, screaming. And then like, 15 seconds later, I regained, full control. It was fine. I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. And at that point, the 10 count was there, and the ref said, no, absolutely not. It's done. I got pissed. And
But you
Bob
hurt
Sapp
Bob
tried to
Sapp
calm me
first,
down.
didn't you?
I'm sorry?
You hurt Bob Sapp first, and they gave him
Oh,
like
yeah.
a long time to recover, right?
Yeah,
You
I
got the
dropped
standing
him.
20 count.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, if it was MMA, Bob
You'd
Sapp.
be done.
I
You
love
would have
Bob
won.
Sapp.
But
Yeah, I would have jumped on top of him and ended it, but it was actually the same exact punch that I hit Kimbo with. I'm in kind of like a square type stance, and I always just throw like a little short left, either up or across, and caught him right because he's so tall. So I was just punching straight up, so it was literally just got right under his chin and sent him to the mats. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, I'm super confident now. I got this. And then literally 5 seconds later, that happens, and I was like, all right, well.
well, Bob Sapp was a huge star in Japan at that time, like massive. So were you in any way worried that you were going to get something like what happened to Conan against Sakuraba? Were you worried like maybe they were going to play with you somehow?
No. After I knew they weren't going to let the fight continue because I was like, oh, it's fine. And Bob Sapp actually came out to me and whispered to me because he knew how to play the game. He was cool. He's like, Seth, listen, he's like, just ask for rematch. I'll give it to you. Just ask for rematch. Just calm down, and ask for rematch. I'm like, all right, thank you. So, he knew not to make a big stink out of it and say it was bullcrap stoppage and all that sort of thing. So I calmed down. It was fine. And then after that night, I was treated like royalty. It was great. It was actually nice. At the time when I arrived there, when I pulled up, the first thing I saw when I got out of the plane was giant cardboard cutouts of him, holding hot dogs and pizza and all sorts of crazy things that he does for advertising there. So it's like I pull up in the plane and it's like Bob Sapp land there because he was so popular at the time. So
Yeah, it's crazy. The Asian crowd is totally different. Unless you experience it, you don't know. Carl Malenko used to tell me about it all the time when he fought in Pride. But when I cornered Chris Barnett for Road FC a few years ago in South Korea, same thing. His picture was everywhere. People just come up to you, win or lose. If you fought, they respect you.
If you fought, especially, and if you fought hard, they respect you. And after that fight, it was like, I've never experienced that type of treatment. You're literally like a king. It was like.
So you mean in Japan the fans in the third level aren't yelling "twist his dick"?
Yeah, no.
No.
What are they doing? Hugging? What is this bull crap? Yeah, no.
Right?
There was none of that. It was silent in the arena. I don't know how many people were there. It was like,
what was that like? Fighting the first time where it's actually silent, like a different atmosphere. Obviously, it's much more rowdy in the States when you're at a fight.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the entrance they were loud, but as you were fighting, it was silent. And then when you did something, it was a roar of the crowd. So it was an experience that.
You probably hear your coaches a lot better, kind of like today's fights that are crowdless or at least really thin crowds. You can hear the coach a lot more in the UFC and other promotions. It's probably a little bit you can hear.
Which I think is better. And a lot of people that are watching are kind of liking it more because you could hear the coaching. It's kind of cool to see that,
I enjoy
the backside of it, right?
No
you
doubt
can hear
about
the
it.
shots a hell of a lot better. When that leather hits a face, it's a crack. That's cool.
Yeah, we're starting to, and when I say we, I'm talking about myself, media guys, and fans are starting to realize what bone on bone really sounds like, and it's not cool. It's not a soft splash. It's very hard and unnerving.
Yeah, it is. And even for somebody that's fought, I get cringed. I'm like, oh, that didn't sound good. It's
right. I nick my shin on the table, and it's 2 days of F this. It's like
you don't have any shin conditioning.
Well, I'm not a fighter and I'm not training, to be fair. This man knows how to train his fighters the right way, so to be fair. But so let's skip forward just a little bit. Karate is a big part of your life now. You talked about how it was a dream for you to fight in Japan, and you didn't hesitate. You took the fight right away. And now, from my understanding, you're spending a lot of your time helping young kids in karate. So now you're helping some of their dreams and some of their aspirations come true.
Right. Well, to correct you, it's not the young kids yet. I actually start the young kids in January because I'm moving to a bigger dojo facility. I outgrew. So I'm currently doing all adults, teenagers and adults in the jungle. My gym that I have that does jiu-jitsu, boxing, MMA. So I started a karate program there about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. And within like 5-6 months, we outgrew the little loft that I built for the karate. And I've been doing it downstairs because of COVID. It's a little more breezeway. There's a big bay door that opens. It's a little safer to do it down there. So And I outgrew that now, so I'm packing the classes. So I just need to move to a bigger location. So starting January, I'll start doing kids as well, just because now I have to pay an additional rent. So I need to start doing kids, which I was hesitant because, you know, I know kids can be difficult, and I'm doing this as a passion. It's not about money at this point for karate, especially. It's just about passion because I love karate and what it's done for me. So I just started thinking back as to when I was a kid and how much it meant. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it is important to teach kids. I need to start doing kids. So I'm going to start doing them, teaching them in January.
And if I can, I've never coached anybody to fight or combat sports, but as someone who worked with kids for 5 years in a completely different art form as an artist developer, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be far more rewarding than you can imagine. It's a different feeling. Yeah,
that's good to hear.
You're going to enjoy it. Yeah, definitely. Right. So in January that starts. Please take a second to let us know where the jungle is and where the new location and stuff like that is.
So the jungle is in Orlando, Florida. So if you could just go to jungleorlando.com, that's our main facility. But that'll give you the link to the Lake Mary gym and the downtown Orlando gym. But my karate dojo is actually, you can walk out of the back of the jungle, go left, walk about 1 minute, and you're at my new karate dojo.
Nice.
And then to go there, just go to karateoforlando.com. The address will be there, but we're located downtown Orlando area.
Cool. So go ahead. Sorry.
How do you split your time, like teaching at one dojo then to the other one?
It's a 1 minute walk.
Yeah. It hasn't been, well, all honesty, the past 6 months, I don't know if you guys know this. I mean, I'm on the radio a lot and I talk about this all the time. I'm a huge hypochondriac. Like, I'm like bad. Like, if I have a headache for more than 4 hours, I think I have a brain tumor, and I'm calling my doctor. And I'm like, what's the matter with me? It's weird that I'm like that. I'm tough when it comes to like training, and I'll do anything, but something that I have no control over, like a palpitation in my heart or some weird thing that happens, I'm having a heart attack. I know it. So this COVID thing has been probably the worst thing that's happened to me in a long time. So I haven't rolled. Last time I rolled was Felicia's UFC fight. Felicia Spencer, she's one of our fighters. Yeah, which was, what was that, like 4 months ago? 5 months ago, yeah. We all got tested there. We're all negative, so I was like, all right, let's roll. And the only time I've rolled since is my buddy is a pro wrestler, and he gets tested every couple of weeks. So once he gets tested, he's negative. I go for the day, and we just train for like hours. But so far, it's been more managerial stuff, like at the jungle. Like, so I've been like, make sure that numbers okay, the manager's okay, the coaches are doing their thing, and then I just been working full time on opening my karate dojo and teaching the karate class. Because there's not really much contact. We started to do a little bit of contact now, but so my time literally is just morning to night building out the new dojo because I'm doing a lot of the work myself, and then obviously trying to do the advertising and all that sort of thing. So.
Let me ask you a question, because I know you dabbled into pro wrestling. Are you still going to do that, or you're?
No, I'm asked to do it a lot, and I will do it occasionally, whenever I feel like it's something fun just to do. But I thought it was going to be easier on my body than MMA and training. That was just stupid.
Taking 1,000 bumps a month is not easier.
It's way worse. Yeah, it's
a
way
different
worse.
thing, right? I mean, it's MMA and fighting is a real competition. You're in war. You're a real Spartan, right? It's not in any way downgrading or anything like that when you're comparing. But taking back bumps 1,000 times just to get a shot, exactly. Just to impress your guy who's training you, just to get past those 3 months, you're taking thousands of bumps, and it's. I always say, because I actually do a lot of pro wrestling. I've been involved in pro wrestling a long time. I'm not a wrestler, but a lot of media and stuff like that. And people, anyone that always bring up pro wrestling to me and say that they want to start training, like, I'll never tell someone not to do something, but I'll always mention, like, don't do it unless your goal is to be in the WWE, because you're going to be sacrificing your body and sacrificing so much that the only reason to do it is a real payoff, right? Otherwise, it's really bad. I don't want to rant on too long, but man, you nailed it. Like, to hear somebody who's an MMA fighter and a real pro fighter and a coach and has so much experience to actually say it out loud, I think it's a breath of fresh air, because it really is.
It's true. Like, from training for a fight, when I'm sparring, now we do it a little less. We only do it once or twice a week.
How excited I get when wrestling comes up.
But But yeah, then to just train every day, taking the bumps, like you said, back bumps, and just like running the ropes and stuff like that, just the whiplash motion, it wasn't doing very good for my head and stuff like
Tuck
that.
your chin, kid.
So
So you gotta
it
have
was fun.
Ronda.
I love acting, and I love creating a character and becoming that character. That's super fun to me. I love that. But yeah, that's if I could do that without taking some bumps and everything.
Well, acting probably pays more than wrestling, and you don't take the bumps. So
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
very true.
now knowing that, and you've tried it, you have to have way more respect for Ronda Rousey now for what she's done.
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely have respect for all the wrestlers out there that for what they do and what they put their bodies through. And anyone that says, wrestling is fake or anything like that, you always hear this like, yeah, we'll get in the ring and see how fake it is. Because I mean, when we were hitting people, we were hitting, we were just learning how to hit correctly, so we weren't going to injure them. But taking the bumps and putting your body through that is just as bad as fighting, 100%.
absolutely. I mean, you could even put a crash pad on the floor. If you're taking a 2-story dive, you're taking a 2-story dive.
Yeah, yeah.
Next
There's no way to
crack
fake.
either
There's no way
way.
to fake that. You're falling.
No kidding. So, Seth, we can just switch gears back a little bit towards your induction into the Hall of Fame, which is going to be happening on Friday, December 18th in Tampa at the Brian Glazer Center. You can get your tickets at FLMMAHOF and all the information. And Seth and his 9, what would you call him, alum who will be in the 2020 Hall of Fame are all listed on there, so you can get all the information. Seth, you mentioned that you thought it was a bit of a surprise to you. When I saw your name on the list, I didn't think it was much of a surprise because your body of work speaks for itself. Now, if I was to really like twist your arm, which I would never be able to, you're too tough. But if I was to twist your arm and ask you and say, hey, listen, what do you think one of your biggest accomplishments are to really justify this award? Like, what would you look back and be most proud about?
I mean, I know everyone from the outside looks at the Kimbo fight, but for me, I mean, 2 fights in particular, the Dan Severn fight and the Rico Rodriguez fight, to me, that was the most personal victory, were those 2 fights for sure. Dan Severn won because I had a lot of fights leading up to that fight that were, not any big name fighters, but I was winning a lot of fights on a huge winning streak.
And he was your hero too, right? Dan Severn's like one of your heroes.
Oh yeah. Growing up, I remember being a little kid watching, the first UFCs when I was a karate kid saying this stuff doesn't work or karate's the only thing that matters. I was a super karate snob when I was a little kid, like, oh, this is bull crap. And then obviously once in high school, I started wrestling and becoming aware of the other things, how they work. But watching Dan Severn, I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. The energy, the ferocity that he has in the ring. And then to face him, years later, it's weird. It's a weird feeling to be a kid seeing somebody you look up to, idolize, and then you catch up and you're in the ring with them. It's a surreal feeling. And then to have, then to beat him and, to be victorious over him, it's just I don't know. It's something you can't describe, I guess. And that meant a lot. It was emotional, I guess.
It's an amazing moment for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt the same thing with Rico, because I, remember watching him when I first started fighting. He was, UFC champ, and he was like, I was like, oh, there's no way I'll, be at that point, and then, to be in Bellator fighting him and then to beat him too is just another same thing, very emotional.
Well, if you were to give some advice to your students or people watching this, what did you have to do for yourself to kind of break through that, if for a lack of better words, if I can, lack of, I don't want to say confidence, but willingness to hurt or to see them as an equal? What did it take for you to kind of like turn that so you could start seeing them as your equal and not thinking you don't belong there?
Man, that's a good question. I honestly, it was just a matter of being in the gym constantly 24/7. Like I didn't have a job. Like I was, luckily I like had parents that were helping me out. My dad, helped me out as far as, if you're doing this, I'll help you out with some food and stuff like that. I wasn't living luxurious at all for the first 4 or 5 years of my career. But I was just in the gym 24/7. I just had to have confidence in myself, knowing that what I'm doing, my opponent isn't doing, or, perhaps he is, but maybe not as intensely as me. And he doesn't have the drive that I do. So you just have to have that full confidence in yourself to know that when you get in that ring, you're just as good as him. It's not easy because, you still have that nostalgic feeling of when you were younger looking up to somebody, but to know that you have, you're doing the same thing that person is doing to become them. you just need that confidence, I guess.
So I like radio.
Don't doubt yourself.
It's a lot like radio, because you're in radio. I've been in radio for 15 years, so you can understand. In radio is like the same thing. The kid who's not on the area is the same freaking guy who's been on for 15 years.
Yeah.
He just needs to break through. It's just
He just needs to break through.
Yeah, you're
right.
both
Yeah,
people.
you're both humans. You will put your pants on. You know, you always hear that. You put your pants like, you know, one leg at a time. It's the same thing. You just have to know that you're going through the steps to get to where he is. So, you know, just have to do it. And there's that respect factor too, though. So I don't think you ever lose that. So I think even when you're there competing on that level, you still have that high respect for that person. I feel like if I fought somebody, you know, my own age that came through the ranks the same time as me, I have respect for him, but I have more respect for the person that was already there and broke through and you know, and is there.
For the induction speech, that's where we like to encourage you to, if I can, encourage you to save your thanks to the people who you want to thank for, you know, the career and this, and you know, getting to the point of an award like that. So we'd like you to save the thanks for then. But are there any people that you could name that might you could actually say are some of your biggest influences coming up that really influenced your career?
I mean, all my coaches throughout high school, my wrestling coach, you know, going through high school, how he, you know, instilled the, that passion for victory and stuff like that. Wrestling like really did that for me a lot in high school. Made me really want to be like a winner. And so I was kind of like going through a phase after all my years of karate, freshman year of high school. I think every kid has this phase, you know, they kind of like don't want to do sports anymore. They kind of get a little, I guess my age, it was grungy. So I just started like, you know, not liking sports. I grew my hair out real long. I started not liking athletics. And then got into wrestling, and it kind of just switched that, put me back into like the competition type mode, the athletic type mode. So he definitely set me on the path. They definitely set me on the path to, you know, become an athlete and want to do this, you know, for a living, because I had the karate and then I started wrestling. So I'm like, you know, I'm starting to get these, you know, stand up the ground. And then as soon as I got out of high school, I started taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then Chris Cordero saw me after my first fight. So he's someone definitely that saw the talent that I had and said, hey, you just knocked out a guy that was 3-0. Do you want to start doing this for a living? And I can book you fights. I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, let's do it. And then of course my sensei, you know, from when I was 6 years old to now, my karate instructor, Bernie Darty, he was a huge influence on my life and still is. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am today for sure.
That's awesome. And if I could just skip forward to, let's say, after the Ultimate Fighter, into that era of your career, when you were a little bit more established. Once you became more established, and at that point, who would you say became more of your influences?
Ooh, I guess it would be my at that point, it would be my training partners. It'd be all the guys that were with me every single day. They weren't fighting, but they were helping me fight and become, you know, the best I can be. Mike Lee, I don't know if you know Mike or not. He's my business partner for the Jungle.
Yeah, I remember watching Mike fight for another person being inducted, Jamie Levine.
Oh yeah. We both fought for Jamie Levine for a while. But yeah, his last fight was for Jamie Levine. He got a head kick knockout. So
yeah,
Mike Lee,
which is rare because Mike wasn't known as a striker.
yeah. Mike's amazing jiu-jitsu guy.
Was that your influence though, from that kick?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. I mean, he was training with me the whole time, so and I kicked him in the head a lot.
Credit for it.
Yeah, right. Mike Lee for sure, and then Tom Lawler, who now is a pro wrestler. You know, Tom Lawler fought for the UFC forever. Was a big help too. I wouldn't say influence, but those two guys were my main training partners for most of my career. Toward the end of my career, it was Thiago Dominguez as well, De La Riva, our jiu-jitsu stuff to do. Yeah, Patata, exactly. But mostly it was Tom Lawler and Mike Lee, and then toward the end it was Thiago helping me out a lot. So my training partners were huge, and any fighter will tell you that their training partners are the ones that make them, because that's who you're there with every single day grinding.
And if I could just lastly from me, I'm sure Rafael might have some more, but one more thing I would really like to ask you, and it's really for everybody. To call you just an MMA fighter would be a disservice. You're somewhat of a renaissance man with combat sports. You're a Swiss Army knife. Yes, that's your moment right there. Exactly. what kind of advice? I mean, and some people don't have advice because some people it's just in them and they're like, I don't know, it's just what I do. But if you had any advice for fighters who are looking for that next thing after their career, which we know doesn't last more than about 10 years in most cases,
Right.
what would you tell them?
I mean, you got to play your strengths. I mean, if it's something that you love, if you were just doing it to try to make money, then maybe it's not something you want to do as a career, like, starting a gym or being a coach or something like that. But if you truly, truly love it, like since I was 6, 7 years old, I knew that I love combat sports, karate and wrestling, jiu-jitsu. Like that was literally it makes me so happy, and I'm so passionate about it. So unless you have that drive and passion, I would hopefully you'd had something else to fall back on. But if you do have that, then go for it. Like make it your career. Try to open a gym. Try to become a coach first, and then work your way to having a gym or something in that field. Don't give up on what you love just because you think you're done fighting. There's so many more aspects to fighting than just fighting.
Oh, like what's missing today, what I think with these new guys is, because I started when I was 9 and I'm 44 now, is getting belt ranks in legit traditional
How come
styles.
you say you started at 9 nice and slowly, but when you say 44, you're like really quick about it?
Yeah, I mean,
That's subtle.
I know how it feels. It's horrible saying I have to say I'm 4 times.
Yeah, but I think that's what's missing today is these guys getting belt ranks in different styles.
Right. No, I agree. People, the traditional aspect of martial arts is definitely overlooked. I think it's coming back a little bit now, more so than before. But yeah, I mean, having that traditional background is huge. And it's not only the techniques, but all the stuff that it instills in you when you're younger, the courtesy, courage, humility, integrity, self-control, all those virtues that are put into you as a kid or as a young adult, will just push forward into everything in your life, whatever career you have, So I think that's huge to have. And that's why I think parents, it's super important to put your kids in a traditional type art. MMA is great. Have them MMA too, but put them in something traditional where it's very, very structured. Because a lot of the schools that I see that do MMA, even jiu-jitsu, it's not so disciplined and structured. But have something that's really structured. I think is good.
Watch, this is how you turn it into a wrestling shoot interview. Any regrets?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. We're looking for the regrets. We need the dirt sheets on this one.
I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention.
Right, there you go.
Famous words of Frank.
Anything else?
I think that's it. I don't want to really talk about the Kimbo stuff because everybody probably asked you about that, and I was there live, and I got to see it happen. I remember your wife at the time. I picked her up, put her over the railing, and me, her, and Bags all jumped in the cage, and they locked the cage behind us because we felt safe in there.
That's smart. Dude, that was horrible, man. Afterwards, I mean, you saw it. It was getting spin. Like, as we were walking back, my brother, my wife at the time was just getting spit. Like, they had spittle over them, like getting called out like that. Like, I had 4 cops that whole night when we had to celebrate. I was ballsy to go out and celebrate. I don't know how I did that, but we had 4 cops around me the whole night that followed us, that shadowed us the whole night, keeping us protected.
Who were the people that were, and I'm not trying to make, point out people who are acting bad or whatever, but were those
wasn't Kimbo.
Kimbos? But obviously, Kimbo was a classy person.
Super cool, man.
Nothing else to say.
In the back.
Oh, sorry, just 1 second here. It looks like they want to wrap us up.
Okay. No, backstage he took me and he was like, oh man, no. He's like, look, you caught me. Good job, man. You gave me my first black eye I've ever had in my life. Congrats. Like, he was so cool. That's all he said, and he was cool. It was just
Yeah. I wish I had met him, man. He seemed like he was the coolest man in the game for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt about that. But what I was actually asking was were those fans or were those like people from, if I could just say, like his neighborhood that loved him that much? Like, because you don't see fans like that over a loss.
You gotta think about it. It was in Miami.
Oh yeah,
and that's where he was doing all the backyard fighting. So
that was his backyard, man. It was somebody that was passionate about it. I know.
Look at you going to everyone's backyards and taking over.
I know. Well, it's
been a pleasure to you. Pleasure to you. It's been a pleasure for me. I'm sure for Rafael, and it's going to be an honor to see you being inducted on December 18th. That's a Friday evening. It's at Brian Glazer Community Center. It is in Tampa. You can get tickets and information on flmmahof.com. And I want to remind everyone that the tickets come with not only the seats and the time to enjoy. It comes with a full dinner where you get the
food.
Yes, you get to pick like some real food, you know, shrimp and chicken and steaks and stuff, and then also this is the kicker. Once the formalities are done for 3 hours, we'll be kicking it with some music and get this, an open bar. So your ticket includes an open bar for 3 hours, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. I don't want to mess that one up because that's a pretty big
3 hour
deal.
cocktail hour. Yeah.
So yes, we're gonna get not 10 because some of them aren't with us anymore, but we're gonna get former fighters together, give them unlimited alcohol, and turn your camera phones on.
Yeah. What are the odds that some sort of grappling match breaks out in the middle of the dance floor? Right? Just for fun.
I would have
see
to
that.
bet on it happening. I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if we were at a hotel in the lobby for sure, we might have a tournament.
Yeah.
We could probably throw a tournament. We're at the Glacier Center. It's where we usually have the Emmy fights, so we could probably throw some mats down.
And plus, that used to be the Armory where all the legit like pro wrestling.
Dusty Rhodes.
Oh yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, put a mask on me and I'm down. You know.
All right, you can't grapple because you got to make sure they're not positive for COVID.
Yeah. We all get tested before we go.
I have a positive attitude, if that counts. Thanks, buddy.
Sorry.
Seth, it's an honor.
If I'm able to just.
Yes,
sorry,
buddy. No, the floor is yours.
Okay, no, I just wanted to give my Instagram, Twitter, all that is at Silverback Seth. If anyone wants to follow me,
You probably didn't know this, but it's going to be right below you anyway.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I do this then?
Yeah, do that. Be like this guy. And of course, jungleorlando.com. Don't forget about that. And what's the new website for the new dojo?
karateoforlando.com.
Boom. karateoforlando.com, jungleorlando.com, and get your tickets to help us honor Seth Petruzelli on December 18th at flmmahof.com. Seth, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, guys. The honor is mine. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.